Hey guys, I'm back with next episode. Sorry for taking so long to get some of these videos out. I got sick this weekend and it's been a very rough ride. So pardon my stuffy nose. I'm still a little sick. I'm getting better though. I'm mostly better. It's Anzac's turn after Italy, but let's go ahead and I'll sum up what happened with Italy's turn. So Italy was relatively successful. They took Yugoslavia, losing 2 infantry. They moved their infantry and artillery, 2 infantry and artillery to Albania, making 6 infantry and a tank from Albania into Bulgaria, and they'll move into Greece next turn. The naval assault in '97 happened and was successful, and Italy saved its entire air force, so that was always good. The amphibious landing with this transport, bringing an infantry and a tank to Alexandria, was successful as well, and this battle here was successful. These 2 were walk-ins. Italy moved 2 infantry to northern Italy, along with those anti-aircraft. Those anti-aircraft guns were already there, but that's to keep the French from taking the territory. And then the transport came here and took Gibraltar. The only battle that was not successful was here in Tunisia. The bomber and artillery both missed, and the infantry got a hit, so the artillery had to be lost, and you're not going to waste a bomber on an infantry. So that was the only unsuccessful battle for Italy. So as of right now, Italy is in pretty good shape. We'll see what happens in the long run. Great Britain's not out of it yet. They still have some formidable soldiers that can do some major damage. They still have a massive air force here in Malta that can come to help defend Cairo, as well as take out the rest / the majority of the Italian Navy. So with that said, Italy placed its destroyer here at Caesar 95, and it ended up making $17. It makes its original $10. 10 plus 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 15, and then it saved $2 on its previous buy, so that puts you at $17. All right, now Anzac's turn. Anzac is kind of an interesting player to play because they have so very little to play with. However, they can be a huge nuisance to the Japanese. Part of the reason why is because it's so hard for the Japanese to even get close to Australia, because it's so far away from any of their supply lines. There's not a factory anywhere near close. And the closest invasion setup is here in the Philippines, and Anzac can see that coming a mile away. Henceforth, they would usually build a destroyer here at 45, blocking the amphibious assault so that they are allowed enough time to build land units. Now, interestingly enough, I like to, so in my allied strategy, I've come to the conclusion that the best possible use for Anzac is to collaborate with America, and America provides the majority of the muscle ships, allowing the Allies great naval power. But the thing that's going to hinder America is the fact that they're not going to be able to turn out a bunch of transports with a bunch of troops on them in order to keep up with the naval race, right? So that is Anzac's job. Anzac's job is to collect as much money per turn as possible and produce as many transports and infantry along with some minor ships like destroyers or submarines to help supplement the massive warships that the Americans will be putting forth. And that's what's going to give the Allied naval fleet its power, is that the American warships will go in and strike the Japanese Navy, and they'll either wipe it out or destroy the majority of it, and then Anzac will come in with what they have, mop up what's left over, and then take all the territories necessary. So that's what I found with Anzac. Now, Anzac has 2 Anzac infantry over here. There's really not a whole lot they can do with them. They can retreat, but that would only get them so far. That would move them to Transjordan. So the best option, I think, is to just leave them there in Egypt. This infantry here in Malaya, I usually leave here because Malaya is a very important part of the Anzac income. If Anzac has all its original territories plus Malaya, then it gets an extra $5. And I think that's very important, and you should try to hold on to that for as long as possible. Japan's going to come in there, they're going to take it. You got to just do your best to hold it for as long as possible. And keeping the infantry there means that Japan has to bring in something stronger than just an infantry in order to take Malaya. That means they actually have to put forth resources. So that's another reason why I usually keep it there. So the only moves that Anzac is going to do is, first off, they're going to buy $10. I always buy this transport infantry. A lot of people think that you should buy a fighter or a destroyer, or that you should save it. But if you're going to follow the basic strategy of supplementing the Allied Navy, then your best option is a transport infantry. Reason being is because our move is we're going to take a transport from Season 62 and the 2 infantry from New South Wales, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3 into Season 45 and take Dutch New Guinea. Reason being is taking that territory will give us the extra $5. We're going to lose a transport in the process. The only transport we have, henceforth a transport's always a good buy. Plus, if we buy an infantry, that gives us another valuable land unit that we can land on these islands later. So that's the reason why I buy that. And that's basically the only moves we're going to do. So this combat move, we're going to take Dutch New Guinea. And then we're going to move the cruiser over with the destroyer in Season 62. Then we're going to fly the planes over here into, what is that, Queensland? And that's basically Anzac's move right there. That's your normal, everyday move. That's what most people do. It makes sense. You get your air power in range to do some heavy damage. You've taken over New Guinea, which gives you an extra $5 per turn because of your national objective. You want to hold on to Malaya because that also gives you national objective money. Sometimes you'll see opportunities with your infantry here in Egypt to move down into Egypt, Sudan, or maybe in Alexandria to mop up some Italian units. So it just all depends. But basically that's all we're going to do. And so we're going to place the transport, and we're going to place the infantry. That'll be Anzac's turn. But now they're going to be making $20 instead of $10, because they'll make $10 plus their 2 $5 bonuses for completing their national objectives. So we got 20 big ones in Anzac's box. So with Anzac done, I'm going to go ahead and move into France's turn, just because they don't have a whole lot. However, we do have some interesting things going on. France does have some capabilities of hurting Italy quite drastically, and being a nuisance for a little while to keep them from completely dominating the Mediterranean. Now, as you know, France has been captured by the Nazis, and henceforth, France has no buying power, no money, no nothing. So, with that in mind, the only thing you can do is combat moves and non-combative moves. So, with what I see on the board, what I suggest is So obviously this guy is going to move from French West Africa to French Central Africa. This destroyer from C Zone 72 is going to move into C Zone 81 to be prepared for a strike. The infantry in Syria will move into Transjordan. Hopefully that will be of some help. The guy in Morocco will move to Algeria, and the guy from Tunisia, which survived, surprisingly, is going to move into Libya. Now, you're not always going to get to see that, but, you know, that's something that's quite neat and helpful at times. So, with that in mind, I'm going to do another move. Now, this move is a little risky in the fact that it's going to leave London open. I'm going to take this fighter right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and take out that transport, and then 5 land in Algeria. So we will have a force in Africa to be reckoned with. However, we have just removed another fighter from the British territories, that which is not good. That means that Britain is going to be very short on air power, meaning that Operation Sea Lion might look like the better option for the Germans. So we'll just have to wait and see what the Germans decide to do. Another move that I have decided to go ahead and do is this battle right here. We're going to take out this destroyer. There's nothing else better for those ships to do. I mean, I could send one of the destroyers to take out this transport, but Britain can do that just as easily. And I'd much rather... actually, you know what? I think that's the better move. Actually, is to take out the transport. We use the naval base that we still have, take the transport out, and then hopefully, and without any transports, hopefully we might be able to escape through the Suez Canal. I highly doubt it with all of this Italian force here. However, if we do get the chance, we will definitely take it and keep those alive for as long as possible. If not, then we will cause mayhem in the Mediterranean for the Italians. So as you can see, there's no actual nice rolling combat moves, just hurting the Italians, taking money, taking valuable resources and units away from them. So, alright, that is the end of round 1 for season 2, I guess. It looks like it's been an interesting round, that's for sure. It looks like the Axis have the upper hand at this point. However, hope is not lost. Hope is not lost. So I will see you guys in the next video, round 2, Germany's turn. Thanks.